Hi guys, it's been a while since my last custom ROM review, and in fact there was none since KitKat got released. But I didn't want to rush anything because most of the ROMs just weren't ready yet. But I think the last 2 weeks or so enough happened to make it worth. And the first ROM I want to review is Beanstalk. It has been my daily driver for about 2 weeks and I want to let you know what I think about it. Okay, let's quickly talk about the ROM itself. Beanstalk is based on Slimbean, and all the Slimbean options that are available are also available on this ROM. But the good thing here is Beanstalk is an advanced version of Slimbean, so it has more options, and I want to show you some of them which are worth mentioning. So the first thing about Beanstalk, it's the official version, not the unofficial one, but both are pretty awesome, but this is the one I used. The first thing here is you have a modified kernel. It's not a stock kernel from Android itself, and what it allows you overclocking and underclocking. It also gives you LED control and position control. It gives you also the faux sound control options to boost your speaker or any other values. I really like this a lot, especially on the speaker, because it gives you an extra boost. Then you also get the thermal control, and the last thing here would be the screen wake controls. You can sweep to wake and double take to wake, but on a Nexus 5 I can't really recommend it because it just drains way too much, at least maybe 3 times more on standby than it usually does. This is because the touchscreen and the display itself are bonded, and this wasn't really the smartest decision. But thanks to gravity screen on off, I solved this problem. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just check my latest video about that. I had it in a must-have. Okay. Then there's also CPU voltages where you can undervolt your device if you want to maybe save a little bit more battery, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference here. Okay, so what does Beanstalk offer? The first thing, you have the Beanstalk options, then you have the halo. One thing I really like is the lock screen with the 8 slider targets. It allows you to enable your phone and you get 8 targets. You can directly launch apps. This is a thing I really like, and I don't really want to miss it. You get clock widget. You can also theme the lock screen if you want to. This is a pretty nice thing if you want. Let's get back. Another thing I really like are the quiet hours. You can select the time where you don't want to be disturbed on anything. You can set different variations here. You see what you get. This is an option I really like. You also have the toggle for that, so you can quickly enable or disable the quiet hours. Pretty handy in my opinion. You also get the theming engine, which a lot of ROMs still don't have. I don't use any since I really like the stock UI from KitKat itself. Then you also get a nice thing that is called LED notification control. What you get with Pulse Notification Light is you get the option to select any app you want to and give it a notification light LED pattern where it glows. So you just select, like, let's say Google Plus, and you can change the pulse length to short, always very long, or something like that, and also the speed. And you can see this by now. If you go to test and turn off the device, you can see, and this is possible for all the apps that you want with all the colors. You can see you can select any color you want to. This is a really nice thing. You get apps that can do the same, but I think it's an inbuilt solution and it doesn't require any extra options. You don't need any extra RAM usage or something like that, and I really like it's already built in there, and I use only that one, not the apps anymore, because I think built in is always better because it doesn't use much extra thing. The next option I will show you is active display, and this is pretty much the same as on the Moto X. You pick up your device and you see already on your lock screen if you got any missed notifications or so, and you have a lot of options here. If you turn it on, you have the notification text, hide, low priority, all notifications and such stuff. It is a really nice thing to have. I don't use it personally, but I think a lot of people like this a lot. You also get CRT animations or something like this. And one thing I really like, you also get the AOKP animation controls, where you can set, as you can see here, how an app reacts with the animations between them. This is a really nice function. Then you also get navigation bar with up to 5 buttons and 5 rings, not the 7 yet, because Slimbean I think never had 7. And this is a slight flaw, but at least you had 5 buttons and 5 rings. That's not bad at all. Then you have suspend options, which are also a really nice thing. If you enable that and turn off your screen, it will automatically switch to 2G to save battery. And you can also disable modal data or disable GPS if you want to save some extra battery. I didn't really notice that much difference here because the standby drain on the Nexus 5 is already pretty good. But for those who want to try it, maybe it gives you a little boost, who knows. Another thing I really like are the fully customizable quick toggles. You can set them as you want. You can change the tiles itself. As you can see here, you can add and delete some of them. You can change the layout. You can change the style, the colors of the background and everything else. This is pretty customizable. And you can also change the tiles per row, which I really like. You also get the quick pull down, which is pretty handy because usually if you pull on the left side and on the right side you always get the notifications, but with quick pull down you can change the right side to open your quick settings and the left side to open your notifications. These are pretty handy options and I really like it. You can change it also to left if you want to, or turn it off. You can also hide the hide network label, and the notification transparency is also customizable. Okay, I've showed you the options and I've talked a little bit about the custom kernel. So now let's take a closer look at performance and battery life. I have to say the performance is really great, but I didn't really expect anything else on the Nexus 5. There's little to no lag. Of course there is still one because it's still Android, and mostly the apps are the reason for the lag. And as you can see on Google Plus, it still has a little bit of loading lag. But this is nothing, the ROM can do anything because the ROM itself is pretty buttery. As you can see here, there's no lag, it's pretty super smooth, and I'm absolutely happy with the performance. There's really nothing I can complain here about. Performance, fantastic. The battery life is another fantastic thing on this ROM here because, like I told you, it has a modified kernel, and the modified kernel gave me a bit extra battery. I can't give you any values here, but I would say I use gravity screen on off, which should drain a bit extra, but as I already said in my review, I don't notice any extra drain. And if there is any, maybe it gets completely diminished by the extra battery I get from Beanstalk itself, because I get about, let's say, 3.5 to 4 hours on data and easily 5 hours on Wi-Fi, with easily a full day. And I'm not talking about a full day with 12 hours, I'm talking about 20 hours or 24 hours. I've gotten 3.5 on data with 24 hours in total, and this is a pretty good battery life for me because the data battery life is the more important thing on the Nexus 5, not the Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi I only have at home, and when I'm at home I don't really have trouble battery because I can always charge. So the data battery life is important, and that one is it gives me at least, I think, maybe a half an hour of extra screen on time compared to stock, and this is a nice thing and I really like it. You also get the options, like I said, to boost the volume. This is one thing I really like because even 4.41 got louder. With the speaker settings it gets even more loud. And just so you see, this is still a 4.41 ROM, but this will change quickly to 4.42 because those were only minor changes anyways. So to sum it up, the ROM is fantastic, smooth, fast, the battery life is great, you get a really nice amount of options, and you have to remember KitKat isn't out that long and a lot of options will still come extra, but for the time now it has a reasonable amount of options. It's still no 4.3 level or 4.2.2 level because you don't have such a high variety, but Slimbean didn't have that in the first place. But for now, at the moment, this is one ROM I can highly recommend because it's fast, it has all the features I need except of the volume key cursor control and the list view animations, but as I said, just use XUI and you will easily get that with the exposed framework. But so far I like the battery life, I like the performance, I like the features a lot, and I really highly recommend you to try this ROM. So this is at least one of the top 3 ROMs right now out there, and I give it a big thumbs up because it's a really amazing ROM. It's better than Slimbean itself, so if you consider to take Slimbean or this, I would prefer Beanstalk, but with Slimbean you get a bit more variety for device support and maybe more constant updates. But I didn't have any problem, the updates were pretty frequently and I have really no problem with that. Like I said, highest recommendations. This was my review of Beanstalk. If you liked the review, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and reshare this video. Yeah, goodbye.